Hello, and welcome back to the Bix Beiderbecke Museum. Today we are back to share more of our collection with you. In this video, we bring you another instrument used by 1920s jazz bands, but with a unique twist to the expected. The saxophone in this case once belonged to Frankie Trumbauer, and is unique not just for its age. Tram, as he was often known, played a C melody sax, a kind of saxophone that was between a tenor soprano and an alto, not only in size, but in pitch, too. The sound of this kind of saxophone was also muted in comparison to other types. This is especially true of any vintage piece with original mouthpieces. Beyond the intended orchestral use, they were often played in environments like drawing rooms, where families and hosts would entertain others with music and more. Many novelty tunes, which were influenced by 1920s dance music, were written specifically for the C melody saxophone. They were also sometimes used to accompany church hymns. C melody saxes were also rather versatile because they were not a transposing instrument. That is to say, the musician didn't have to play in one key while reading a different one. Someone playing a C melody sax could read music printed for, say, a flute, the oboe, a piano, or even the guitar, just as it was written. That is, as long as it didn't go higher or lower than the C melody sax was capable of playing. It was a great help to amateur players, as they were able to play off a wider variety of sheet music and what might be on hand from a fellow musician. However, their production ended suddenly at the start of the Great Depression. When the single company that made them began again in 1935, the interests of musicians and the advent of big band music had changed the demand. Vintage C melody saxes are surprisingly common for being out of production for 75 years, a show of their popularity in the early 1900s, showing up secondhand in many places. The dedicated mouthpieces and reeds, on the other hand, can be much harder to find. Our saxophone has a mouthpiece used during Tram's time with this particular instrument, and also reeds that fit. While Trumbauer also played alto saxophone, bassoon, and clarinet, his main instrument of choice was the C melody saxophone. In addition to the instruments he could play, Tram was also a band leader, composer, and one of Bix Beiderbecke's closest friends. In 1927, Tram recorded Singing the Blues with a group under the name Frankie Trumbauer and his orchestra. It featured Bix on his cornet, Eddie Lang on guitar, and Tram's own C melody sax. This recording has since been inducted into the Grammy Hall of Fame in 1977, and it was placed on the U.S. Library of Congress National Recording Registry in 2005. The sound of Tram's C melody saxophone lives on.